Let's talk about creativity books. I absolutely love reading, and of course creativity is one of my favourite subjects. So today I wanted to share with you 7 of my favourite creativity books that are on my shelf right now and that I refer to again and again over the years to have a pick-me-up and find inspiration in my creative life. So I thought a fun way to go through this list would be to share with you the books in the order in which I've read them during my life. And starting with one of Sark's my favourites of Sark's. I own basically all of Sark's books, but this was the very first one that I picked up back when I was 18, and it's called Inspiration Sandwich. Now, what I loved about her book was not so much that she was telling me exactly how to make a painting or do anything specific, but it was permission to live my life in a creative, unconventional and unusual way. She has this beautiful truth in the way that she writes, and she's very self-nurturing and very kind to herself. And I found that this book opened my eyes up to traveling and using that to fuel my creativity. So that's book number 1. Book number 2 is the absolute classic by Julia Cameron, The Artist's Way. Now, one of my teachers at TAFE put me onto this book when I had been painting only for perhaps a year, and I'd had my first exhibition and it had gone well, and I started to freeze up because I didn't want to. It was like having second book syndrome. You know, I didn't know what to paint because I started to think about what other people might think about my paintings. And he photocopied, which you're probably not supposed to do, but photocopied a chapter in there on fame. So I went out and bought the book and devoured it. Now, different people have different experiences of going through The Artist's Way, and it's full of a lot of creative exercises. And to be honest, I've never done all of them. I've dabbled with them and I've found them useful, but if you pick it up, don't feel the pressure that you have to finish every exercise, because you'll still get great value just from reading what she's written. The third book was a bit more of an intellectual book around creativity, and it's called The Path of Least Resistance. Now, this one is quite different to the other books I'm showing you today, but it did leave a really lasting impression with me when Robert Fritz talks about setting up tension in your creative life so that the tension forces you to follow the path of least resistance and actually make your creative dreams real, which is drawing from the title of our 4th book, Make Your Creative Dreams Real, another wonderful book by Sark. This book is where I picked up on the term micro movements, which I just love. And she talks about a whole range of processes and mindsets and specific tools that help her to write her books and produce the things that her heart's calling for. There's really tons of valuable information in this book, and it's a delight to read, as are all of Sark's books. And she's really funny. She actually handwrites, not so much in this one, she handwrites a lot of her own and does these squiggles, and they're really an unusual type of book. I think they're fabulous. They give you a permission to be imperfect. Okay, so what are we up to now? The 5th book was Trust the Process. This is a really wonderful book about starting to pick up some materials, art materials, and he includes Sean McNiff includes some exercises that you can start with right away at home that will help you to tap into your creativity and literally trust the process and start to be delighted by what you can create and build your artistic muscles in a way that is fun and completely accessible, no matter how much art experience you have. So that's a lovely, practical and inspiring and nurturing book that talks about the principles of creativity as well as gives you some exercises that you can try at home. The 6th book was a beautiful book that actually combines a little bit of spirituality along with creativity. And I love this book by Christine Paintner, because she combines monastic wisdom. She calls herself a monk in the world, and she combines it in with beautiful creative exercises of writing and photography and painting and drawing that help us to slow down, to notice what's around us. And she talks about practicing inner hospitality with our inner selves and does some lovely meditation exercises. It's a really forward-thinking, Christian-based, but forward-thinking Christian-based book. And I just absolutely, I can't think of the right word, devoured and loved this book. It's beautiful. And finally, the most recent book I read on creativity, I have talked about before on the blog, and that's Liz Gilbert's Big Magic, which was a romp through these pages of stories of her life and her experience as a writer, of producing work and then overlaying those principles with what she sees ways to be creative in our lives every day. And I think that Liz is gorgeous. In fact, I started watching Eat, Pray, Love last night, I think for the second time, just for fun, and was thinking how much this book is a real ripper when it comes to books on creativity. So there you have it. Those are 7 of the books that I've found really life-changing and supportive in my creative life. And I'm also in the process of writing a book myself about creativity, which I'm super excited about. And I'd love to hear from you in the comments below this video with any points that you feel you would love to hear from me in the book about my creative process, or how to break things down, or where to get started. I'd love to hear from you because I'm in the process of actually mapping out the overall structure of the book, and now's the time to put those questions in. So feel free to put them in the comments below, and I'll do my best to answer them in the structure of the book. Have a great day. Be gentle with yourself, nurture your creativity, and I'll see you next week. Bye.